course, yeah, lots of big things happening. Big Ten going first, then the Pac-12. Kind of give me your thoughts on, the decisions that were made today by those conferences to move forward with what they're doing.
Yeah, well, obviously there was a lot of thought and time and effort put into the decisions that they made. They made the best decisions they could for their conferences right now. I've been really proud and pleased with the leadership of Greg Sankey. He's been very thoughtful and thorough in our approach to what we're doing as a conference. Our goal is to, we're not trying to be the first. We're just trying to be thoughtful with the health and safety of our student athletes at the forefront, but also listening to our student athletes is a real desire to play, whatever the sport is. And so we've been engaged with our student athletes, we've been engaged with our campus leadership and our system leadership, and we're trying to make the best decisions that we can as we continue to gain more information.
Before making your way over to the SEC, you were actually in the Pac-12.
Yes, sir.
Talk about the ramifications that conference is going through, because not only did they say fall sports, they say it's sports through the end of the calendar, which means indoor track and basketball too.
Yeah, they'll start their basketball seasons, and then we also have, we have soccer, we have volleyball. Your softball team usually plays in the fall. Your baseball team works out in the fall, as well as your men's and women's golf, men's and women's tennis. So there's a lot that's happening in the fall season. So it sounds like all of those sports in the Pac-12 will be shut down for the year. And there's obviously one of the things I think people lose sight of at times. The student athletes who participate at that level, they've worked all their lives to get to that point, and to have that taken away it has a significant impact on them. So you're always very concerned about them from a mental health standpoint. You're very concerned about them being able to continue to do things in their life that allow them to grow and prosper academically, athletically, and socially. And when you take the sports away, all those things are impacted. So it's a challenging decision for each of those conferences, and my heart goes out to the student athletes, the coaches, staff, and the fans in each of those markets.
You talked about the leadership of Greg Sankey and what he's been able to do with the SEC. How proud are you to see him stand firm not only for the schools but for the student athletes, and put together a good plan to where it looks like football will still be played this year?
Yeah, well, he's shown great leadership, as have our presidents and chancellors through all of this. Tried to make the best decisions. I think one of the things he's focused on and we have focused on is, one, the health and well-being of the student athletes. But then on top of that, the more time we can continue to let this give us to make decisions, the longer we can stretch it out, the better decisions we're going to have the opportunity to make. And I think sometimes, understandably, we're all in a rush to say, we need to do this now, today. Sometimes taking a step back, letting things breathe, learning, growing, educating yourself allows you to make the best decisions you can. Some are just tough decisions, no matter how long you give it. But we're going to do our very best to make the best decisions we can for our student athletes and our universities and our fans.
A couple more. What kind of conversation have you had with your coaches, in particular, Coach Saban, about what the future is going to look like, especially on the day-to-day basis? Because this virus is changing day to day.
Yeah. So Coach Saban and I've talked a lot. Talked earlier this afternoon. He obviously is trying to do the very best he can to help support his kids. Make sure he's educating them. He's done a wonderful job with the speakers that we've had for the team. We've had point. And then
basically postponing the football.